So, good evening everyone. May I introduce myself? My name is Janice Himao Kimbo. Abi is in English too. And today we are going to tackle about Lesson 3, Assure Model. So first, what is Assure Model? Okay, Lesson 3, Assure Model. Here are our learning outcomes. The first one is explain how the Assure Model helps in effectively integrating technology into lesson planning. Then, appreciate the significance of analyzing learners' characteristics and integrating multimedia for differentiated instruction. And recognize the appropriate use of multimedia and technology in lesson planning as outlined by the Assure Model. So, first, what is Assure Model? Assure Model is a well-planned lesson. It's a half of the battle one. So, half siya sa success nato. Murag dako siya og impact or dako siya og tabang as a teacher when it comes to kanang magtudlo or sa classroom setting mo na siya. The other half is the delivery of the lesson with the facilitator, which is kita, who has the pedagogical skills in implementing what has been planned. This will ensure the achievement of learning outcomes. This will be engage learners to perform expected standards. So when you say well-planned lesson is ang half ani is ang success. Tapos ang isa pud ka half ani is that ang delivery sa teacher or as a facilitator sa isa ka classroom management. Then, so nara ang Assure Model. A stands for Analyze Learner. S stands for State Objectives. Then, the letter S is Select Instructional Methods, Media and Materials. And then the U is Utilize Media, Materials, and Materials. And then R is the response. Required learner participation or engagement sa classroom or during sa kanaang lesson. And then the last is the letter E, stands for Evaluate and Revise. So, first, what is Assure Model? When you say Assure Model, it is a guide in crafting an instructional flow that can guide the teacher in integrating appropriate technology and media into the instructional process. It also refers to a systematic approach that the teacher can use when writing an instructional plan. This model is composed of 6 essential steps in planning instruction. Theoretically, it is a mental framework that a teacher considers. So when you say Assure Model, is isa siya ka guide sa teacher. The difference between Assure Model and lesson planning is that nasa similarities. So iyahang differences is kanang ang Assure Model lang is kanang how to integrate technology or how to integrate, how to utilize, how to select technology during sa kanaang ato ang class discussion o na siya. So, nara ang unong ka steps. The first one is analyze learners. Analyze learners with the learner as the center of the instructional process. The initial consideration is to get a clear picture of the learner's learning styles, age level, interest or preferences, background, special needs, and cultural diversity. So, before we start on our discussion as a teacher is that we should know what are the differences unsa ilahang mga differences sa atong mga estudyante, unsa ilahang mga pagkakaiba sa when it comes to ilahang learning styles, sa ilahang cultures, sa ilahang language para ang ato ang mabutang sa ato ang kanaang lesson plan or sa ato ang flow sa kanaang lesson is that kanang effective siya sa isa ka estudyante. And in order for us to assess learning needs sa mga estudyante, and then sa ilahang mga i-consider na to ang ilahang mga learning preferences and kanalabi na sa ilahang mga learning pace, difficulty level, and motivation. So mo na siya sa analyze learners. Next is the state objectives. This is the main instruction guide that will direct the flow to reach the target. So, when we say state objectives, is that before we proceed to our discussion, we should have first the objectives or the learning outcomes that can be met sa ato ang instructional guide or the lesson plan. And we should make sure na kan ating objectives is kanang clearly articulate what learners will achieve. Dapat smart, di ba? Dapat smart ang atong objectives, and ang dapat siya relevant and focused, specific siya, time bounded, then result oriented. Mo na siya ang state objectives. Next, select methods, media, and materials. Selecting the appropriate way of delivering the lesson and using the applicable media or technology can effectively make learners acquire understanding of the lesson or gain the competence desired. So here's the select methods, media, and materials is that as a teacher, dapat prepared ta. We should select the best method to how to integrate the technology during sa ato ang klase, because as we all know that karon is mas ma-participate na ang isa ka estudyante kung mag-integrate ta og technology during sa ato ang class discussions. Okay, so like for example na select mga technologies, mga online platforms, mga software, mga hardware, and kung as a teacher for this, that we should make sure that ang kanang atong i-integrate na technology or mga online platforms is accessible siya sa tanan nimo estudyante. Then, so select methods man to, no? Next is utilize na. Having selected the strategy, media, and materials is halfway of the task done. Planning how to implement this entails a lot of consideration, bearing in mind the learning outcome of the lesson. The teacher decides which part of the instructional flow will a particular material or technology be employed and the manner and how it will be more effective to achieve in the learning outcome. Okay, so gaina is select man na, mag-select ta, mag-choose ta kung saan the best technology ang atong gamiton. While here in the fourth step is that kanang mag-utilize na how to implement instructional design na to, deliver content at choosing media na tapos mga easy to flow guidance mag-utilize na ta, mag-implement, mag-facilitate ito sa with the use of technology sa to ang class discussion. And then sa pangkalima is require learner participation. So sa require learner participation is student engagement is an important element. Yes, of course, important jud ang student engagement. It plays a very crucial role when it comes to class discussion, kay unsa man si teacher kung wala yung estudyante, unsay pulos sa iyang content, sa iyang topic, if wala mo grasp ato nga ang knowledge kato nga content. So it is important nga kanta dili lang ta teacher centered but also student centered. Okay, the next one is the last one is the evaluate student performance. When you say evaluate student performance, is that we are going to assess the students' capabilities or the knowledge. We are going to measure the knowledge of our students after sa ato ang discussion. And kanang through sa mga different kinds of assessments, like for example mga formative, mga quizzes, mga summative quizzes, and then pilain ka ng mga performance tasks, and it is also necessary for us as teacher to provide suggestions, comments, and feedbacks sa based sa performance sa isa ka estudyante. Tapos ang importansya pud aning evaluation or assessment is that makita nato kung unsay lahang weaknesses and strengths. So kung asa to dapit nagkulang sa to patudlo or asa pod dapit sila nagkulang or asa sila dapit kanang maayo or dili, so that ato silang kanang maagapan. Okay, so in conclusion, the Assure process is really just a matter of common sense. However, it is good to follow a regimented guide to improve your teaching technique. Any effective teacher knows that the perfection of their technique does not come overnight, and there is always room for improvement. By following the Assure model, you'll be sure to improve your teaching for years. So, kanang magtudlo jud ta is dili siya perfect, but the important thing to do is that we should have a instructional guide, the flow para kanaang dili gubot ang ato ang class discussion. This is very basic lang siya, no, para kanaang sa ato ang pagtudlo or sa flow sa ato ang during our discussion. So the best way to have a effective class discussion is that kanang to integrate technology that are accessible to all of our sa ato ang mga estudyante. So as I said earlier na kanaang mo cooperate jud, mo hatag jud og tanang atensyon ang estudyante, labi na kung interactive and engaging ang imuhang class discussion. Dili na sa discussion, but also when it comes to kanang mga quizzes na, mga performance task na, o mag-integrate ka o mga technology, mga software, or mga kanang mga online platforms. So, that would be all. Thank you for listening. Merry Christmas!